NCAA basketball totals for Thursday, February 9th. This is the segment where we look at totals set by odds makers in NCAA hoops, and we try to beat that line, either going over or under the total. Having a pretty profitable season so far in NCAA hoops, and we're going to try and continue to do that today. Also, we have our NBA live segment that's going to be going on at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern, so you want to be sure to tune into that. That one has just been fantastic. The winning record is not nearly as good as NCAA hoops. I'll talk about my record in that segment, which is just over 500. Not great, but NCAA doing really well. So I hope you guys are enjoying, this piece. And just, as always, I just wish you the best of luck. Don't forget sbrpicks.com, sportsbook reviews, sign-up bonuses. You got to check out our website, one of the best out there, if not the best, as far as when it comes to odds and totals and numbers. It has all the sportsbooks on there as well. So you got to check out sportsbook review as well. Share the videos, share them with your friends. And that NBA live segment, you got to tune into that. The feedback's been great. So tune into that and then share that video as well so we get even more people involved. I've really enjoyed doing that, and I appreciate you guys. Some of the comments have come back to me negative against me, and that's fine. We're all in this together to ultimately, make a profit. So if we disagree, that's great. No problem there. And just go ahead and chime on in, and we'll try to have some good feedback on that live segment. So be sure to tune into that, as I've mentioned already several times. All right, this is some NCAA basketball, though, we're going to talk about. Great matchups. What a bunch of great matchups we have going on today. All right, let's go ahead and start breaking these down. The first one we're going to look at here is Purdue and Indiana, 155.5 set by odds makers. Now, this is probably the first time this year. I have 3 games on the card. This is probably the first time this year where I'm going over on all my plays. I just think we're going to see a lot of points today. And it's going to start with this one right here. Indiana-Purdue, great rivalry here in Indiana. This 155.5, of course, is the same trend we've been looking at, this season in NBA and NCAA. This is the highest total I have between these two teams since 1998. They had a 157 in which they went over back in 1998. Of course, completely different squads back then, different dynamic. Tom Crean loves to get up and down, and Painter's really letting them go ahead and push some tempo with that Purdue team this year. Now, last year they played to a 77-73 final, but they went over the 147. Of course, we have the 30-second clock, and things are going really fast as your teams are just scoring points, I like to use the word exponentially, and I think it fits here, and I think it fits for all these plays today. I think that's what we're going to see today. So I'm going to go back over this 155.5. When we start to break these teams down even more, you're talking about two teams that can flat out score. Indiana's actually picked some things up on the defensive end this season, but still, you're talking about an Indiana team that scores 82 points per game. Purdue, 82.2. They rank 21st and 19th, respectively, as I just mentioned those in order as far as scoring is concerned on the season. So this line makes sense. Defensively, they've been pretty good as well, with Purdue allowing 66.7 and Indiana, not bad for them, 71.6, which ranks right in the middle of the country. But Tom Crean has done a better job this year. Right now, they're allowing just 41.9% from the field, which is really good, for a Tom Crean coach team. Purdue, not bad as well. They're allowing opponents just under 41% shooting overall. What I like, though, we go to the other side, though. We get to them offensively. Their percentages are really solid across the board, and the tempo should be pretty fast. So right now we got Purdue. They're averaging 48.6% from the field. That ranks 20th in the country. Indiana, 49.1. They rank 14th. As far as their overall shooting percentages, both teams can shoot the three, especially Purdue. They rank 3rd in the country in three-point shooting percentage. Tempo should be good. If they can play to their normal expectations, I really think we'll get over this 155.5. It's a pretty big total, but Indiana loves to get up and down. They're allowing opponents over 60 attempts per game. That ranks almost, it ranks in the bottom third of NCAA teams. I was going to say almost 300th, but not quite there. They're 260th in the country in that category. And Purdue as well, they do rank outside of the top 300 in field goal attempts by opponents per game, allowing almost 62. So really look for these two because of what they like to allow, because they want to get some tempo going to go ahead and get over that 155.5. Unless they hit the rim every time, I think they're going to get over. I like this play right here. This should be a track meet. And I think all these are going to be up and down, like I've already mentioned. All right, next one up. Best game of the day, of course, North Carolina Duke. Fantastic. Just love this. What a great matchup. I've been watching these guys for years. Again, right now we got 162.5. And I'm going over. Now, I actually went under with them last year, but I think they get there. I think they get there in this matchup. Two great offensive teams, but we look at their last few totals here. Just the last three, we got a 84-77 final, 74-73, 76-72. One of them they went over at 154, but oddsmakers set the last two totals 163 and then 160 and a half. Now this is 162 and a half, so they've gone under this same number basically the last two times. But oddsmakers they're not budging. They're not gonna make adjustments. They're not going down to 158. They know this is going to be up tempo. The thing was last year they didn't shoot at a particularly high rate, and they stepped up on the defensive end. So credit to them in those matchups. But I think this one's going to be a little different today. So let's look at these guys statistically. Duke is really starting to turn their season around. Now with Coach K back, they should be able to put up some points tonight. They are at home, of course. Right now they're averaging 82.5 points per game, ranked 17th in the country. North Carolina, Roy Williams, great coach, 87.1 points per game. They rank 6th. Now defensively, both teams are pretty solid. North Carolina loves to get up and down. They're allowing 72 points per game, which is not great. Duke just 67.9. But I really like how the tempo is going to play out this game. I think North Carolina is going to be able to not impose their will, but be able to get up and down enough. And I think Duke's going to be fine with that because right now Duke is allowing opponents about 59 attempts per game. That ranks outside the top 200 teams. North Carolina really pushes tempo. They rank right now 3rd in the country, getting up 66.7 attempts, and they rank 4th in field goals made per game. Really good offense by North Carolina, and they love to try and get teams to go up and down with them as they're allowing over 61 attempts per game. That ranks just about 300th in the country. Both teams can flat out shoot. North Carolina, 46.9% from the floor. Duke, 48.2%. That ranks 54th and 24th respectively, but you're talking about a top 300 teams. So North Carolina is going to try and get out in transition. They're going to board real hard and then go ahead and get to their outlets and run that kind of that fast break offense where they get down, guys get out in their lanes, couple transition passes, and they try to get an easy bucket. Duke, of course, can defend that really well, and they've been good, all year actually defending. I mean, right now they rank 40th in the country in opponent shooting efficiency. However, I just like the tempo in this one. I think odds, and it's a little bit of a numbers play where odds makers did not, set the total lower, even considering the last two times they've matched up and the numbers they've already set. They didn't budge on it. So I kind of like that. So I'm going to go ahead and back over this 162.5. This is going to be a fantastic game. I'm definitely going to watch this one. And last one up, we got Wisconsin and Nebraska. Interesting line here. 128.5, but I'm going over. Wisconsin can score, despite the fact they play some really good defense. Now, this number kind of hovers around the same number we've seen between Wisconsin and Nebraska the last few times they've matched up. Now that with Bo Ryan not being at Wisconsin, they're a little bit more, a little bit more of a quicker tempo team, but they're just excellent across the board, in every major statistic. They're just fantastic. Nebraska, they're not bad, but we're talking about two teams here. This 128.5, I think it's just too low. Wisconsin, they're averaging 74.6 points per game. That ranks, outside the top 100 teams, but that's not bad. Nebraska, not bad either, 71 points per game. And defensively, Wisconsin's really, really solid, but this game is at Nebraska. And I like for Nebraska to score some points at home tonight. Right now, as well, Nebraska's allowing 73.4 points per game. Wisconsin, they've been great defensively. They allow under 60 points per game. They rank 4th, in defensive scoring, and their statistics across the board rank in about the top 25. But they don't allow. They're not great at defending the perimeter. Nebraska, unfortunately, is not great at shooting from beyond the arc at just about 32%. But tempo-wise, they're really getting up and down. They're averaging almost 62 attempts per game. They rank 33rd in the country in attempts per game. Out of 300 teams, over 300 teams, that's some pretty quick pace. And Wisconsin, they're okay with getting up and down. Now, they don't allow that much at just 54 attempts per game, but they're getting up 58.1, and they're a really good shooting team, 46.7%. So I don't think this is going to be super high scoring like 140s, but can they get over 130? I think so. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm back over the total again one more time with Wisconsin and Nebraska. This is a really interesting day for me. This might be the first time this year where I've had 3 plays and I've gone over on all of them. I really think this might be the case, but I like it. I think these guys are going to get over. We'll see. It's going to be some tough matchups, and if the defenses step up and the balls don't drop, then we're not going to get there. But I like for the numbers. I like the numbers here, and for us to go ahead and get over the total on all these games. All right, let's recap that. We got Purdue and Indiana over the 155.5, North Carolina Duke over the 162.5, and Wisconsin Nebraska over the 128.5. Great slate of games. NBA Live, you got to check that out. SBRpicks.com, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.